Welcome back to you, my scrumptious Pop-Tarts. I appreciate you. I recently ran a poll. It was actually like a week or two ago, and I think it's very interesting. I asked everybody, what do you think will outperform in the next 12 months? HEX or Pulse? Now, it's 56% to Pulse. And on the surface, you think, aha, I am a genius. I am going to fade the crowd on this one. This is where you got to be careful. There is biasness in this poll because I've educated everyone and I know everybody's been watching and listening, and I know it's not a true measure of what everybody's doing. You see, this is where you got to think. You see a lot of bears, friends, they always come out and they go, oh, this guy's bullish, better get out. But they don't know we're cockroaches who've survived nuclear fallout, right? You can't just say, oh, well, there are people still alive in crypto. Got to get short. It doesn't work like that. Also, it's the same with this. You got to really be careful about who you're polling and what's going on here. Can you actually get info from here? So we don't know anything anyway. You have to hold no matter what it is. But a bit more people believe Pulse is going to outperform than HEX. Interesting, though. I remember when it came to the eHEX, pHEX polls, it was actually similar. People believed more in pHEX, and then it did outperform. So the charts were looking at it today, it was all the way down here. I mean, people were saying, well, what's better, eHEX or pHEX? More people were talking about pHEX. And yeah, it continued to outperform. So you can't gather all of the information from here. Sometimes they line up, sometimes they don't. We're all just guessing, man. We're all just guessing. But I want to dig deeper. I want to figure out, all right, where are we actually coming from when we say this? Now, I've made many videos that you like, subscribe, belly button on all to. You press and shock that algorithm. I've made many videos. In a nutshell, ETH BTC ratio. So Ethereum versus Bitcoin is the granddaddy of Pulse versus HEX. Ethereum and Pulse are the layer 1. They exhibit higher leverage on the ecosystems versus the store of value, which everyone gathers around. In a nutshell, you can think about it like this. If we draw a little city, Bitcoin and HEX are both churches. You understand that? They are churches, friends. There's a cross here. There's a church, okay? That's what they are. They're churches. But PulseChain and Ethereum is the whole city, okay? It's the whole city. There's buildings here. There's a little hospital here. There's a school here. There's a big park, right? There's a big park with like swings, okay? That's the difference. HEX is the church, store of value, and so is Bitcoin. And then PulseChain is the city. Makes sense, right? It does make sense. It makes sense because everybody who's coming in to build on the ecosystem, they have different views. There's the meme coiners. There's the leverage traders. There's people who want to yield farm. There's pHEX. There's people who want to do money market borrowing. There's going to be social finance. These things come together, right? And I know you like coming, family-friendly show. That's what she said, friends. Please, straighten your back. We've got to be serious now. So now we've established this. This is why there's a difference here. And I've been able to see it. That's why I've been able to share it with you. So when you're looking at it, I want you to think about, where do we go from here? Well, traditionally, this is just fact. When the bull market heats up, ETH BTC has upwards drift. People come in more for it. And it makes sense because there's more risk with a layer 1. There's more reward. There's a lot of things to do. There's things to participate, even though not everybody agrees. I mean, think about it. There are people on layer 1 chains like Ethereum who are getting short against Ethereum. Just have a think about that for a second. There are people betting against the system within the system itself. That's how big it is. Okay? And I think it's also important, friends, not only to pump the music for us, but also Mr. Abit. So Abit is a very fierce and wonderful hexagon, very intelligent man. Mr. Abit says, Thank you for the poll and opening up the discussion on why HEX will outperform Pulse. So it's interesting just to think about. He says both will be doing great. This is very true. Very true. They're going to be doing great. And HEX needs Pulse to do good in order to do good itself. But the question people need to answer is where to allocate most. So I just want to let you know, there is no perfect answer. We don't know. And things change with time. So all you can do is guess, okay, where are we going to be in 3 years? But, you know, maybe the right answer is like, oh, I had to sell on a 2x and then do this and do that. That's going to play with your head as well. So here is Mr. Abit's ratio. He says, I've got HEX, Pulse, and PulseChain. My preferred ratio to hold is 60, 30, 10. This is a very nice, simple cookie cutter approach. 60% HEX, 30% PulseChain, 10% Pulse. Maybe even more HEX, obviously, because there's yield and stuff coming a long time. I want to let you know, I found this interesting comment. Some person down here, look at this person, Emmett. Emmett, are you a friend of the channel? Yes, you are. Emmett says, more PulseChain than Pulse? What are you smoking, bro? And here, look at my response straight away. Everybody thinks it's suicide to hold lots of PulseChain, and that's probably a good indication that it's cheap, bigly. But it still could take 6 to 12 months to enjoy, friends. Don't you forget. This is exactly how the game works. You see that? But you got to think about it. You're like, wait a minute. Why are we all thinking PulseChain is trash? Is it because it's trash? 99% of people think that. To be a good speculator or to win in this game, you got to think, wait a minute. What if it's not trash? What if it gets upgraded? What if the sentiment changes? Okay, now people have gone from thinking it's trash, which is hate, and then neutral, and then like, and then love. You see that? That's how you get the biggest buy low, sell high opportunity. And I just want to let you know, baby dolls, whenever we go down, whenever Twitter hides a message from me, I always take a risk. And I'm like, you know what? Am I going to regret clicking on it? And I've just opened this. I don't know what this is, Pulse and Pals. And they have this really weird thing. Just it's the most obscure music. Listen to this. What's going on here? Just look at this. What's going on? Weird obscure music. There's like these little clay things. Just what he's even doing is just like Pulse logo here. What's this X? Is that PulseX? Is it something else? These weird cats, people jamming. Okay, bro, what is that music? What is that music? The people want to actually crank, friends. Do you understand? We want to crank. Don't worry, I'll fix you up. We're here to crank it. But let me tell you this. This is proving my point. I just closed down. I went down here. Twitter hid this for a reason. All right, look at this. Live. As I'm recording this, I'm telling you, I just told you, PulseChain is a big city. And HEX is a little church. This is Pulse and Pals. It's an animation business. There you go. So, see... I don't know what category to put them. Are they like super weird or is it super arty? I don't know what it is, but you see how they have a place in the city. Like a city, yes, there's nightclubs and there's strip clubs and there's churches and there's hospitals and there's schools and there's playgrounds. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's gaming cafes where you do a bit of 5-on-5 Counter-Strike. All of these things are going on. But HEX is the church. Just like in crypto, Bitcoin is the church. Unfortunately, Bitcoin doesn't have a city. Bitcoin is like, okay, let's fly over to this island and the whole thing's a church and you really got to live by the church. And everyone's like, man, sometimes I just want to gamble with my friends on a Friday night, man. Let me throw $50 in. And then people will say in Bitcoin land, no, sin comes from yield. Don't you dare. You're sinning. You know, but some people like that, friends. We know the game, man. We know the game. People just need churches, man. Some people, you give them some Coca-Cola, then they're like, I want to put some whiskey in it. You give them whiskey, next thing you know, they haven't been home for 48 hours, they come back, bags under their eyes, haven't showered, lipstick all over, you know what I mean? They're just like, whoa, man, like, bro, come on. Why don't you do it? You couldn't just have a drink and just go home? Nope. But that's okay. Some people need this. That's why it's important just to think about them conceptually and differently. Now, that's why when I put this chart up, that's why it's like, I hope you're starting to get an appreciation, friends. No one wants to play. Look, you're not going to get anywhere in crypto anymore okay, you got like a 1% allocation here. Maybe it does 100x. It's not going to do 100x, okay? It's not. The game's changed. There's too many scum out there. There's too many paper hands. It's diminishing gains. We're not getting as much as we used to, and too many people know the game. We know that now. So we're approaching the stock market. You know the stock market? You know how you go all in to make your 7%? Yes. Well, we are lucky. We're blessed. We can go all in and make 1,000%, 10x, right? I don't know. A lot of people are like 10x. That's trash, yeah? They're making 7% in stocks, okay? So I'll take the 10x. You can leave the 10x on the table hoping for the 400x, and you can round trip it and see how you feel. Now, what's happening is Pulse, obviously very cheap to PulseX. Pulse is very cheap to Ethereum. If it got back to just the high, right? This could be big numbers, by the way, big numbers if you could get there. If you change it on a daily chart, you get to kind of see where it was around the launch. From here, yes, you can get like actually, let's just do a bit higher. From here, you can get like a 5.5 to 6x. That's huge on Ethereum, man. That is huge. Remember, Ethereum's beating Bitcoin. You want to outperform Ethereum. Big informational advantage. If you can understand everything I just told you. I gave it to you. I go, well, can we conceptualize how this thing outperforms? Because you're a speculator. We're trying to think of the future. That's why I drew the city for you, friends. That's why we have I drew the city and you have a little church here, okay? That's how I see it in my mind. I'm seeing a big city potential. Now, the big city, yeah, it's a few cabins right now, and there's people still chopping wood. There's still a campfire, you know? That's what's going on right now. But eventually, it's going to be bigger. That's how you speculate. You're like, okay, people think it's never going to be big. I think it is. That's why you get in now, and when it does get big, you're out. That's how the speculators think. Now, are you ever going to get out? Obviously, everybody has to wrestle with that themselves. That's why you need a bit of yield, a bit of things coming your way to give you incentive to hold and reasons to believe it even gets bigger. But let me tell you something. When was the best time to sell New York real estate? Michael Saylor. Never. It just went up only for 100 years. When was the best time to sell California? Call it California real estate. You see what I mean? You see in the picture. It's all coming together now. So now you can conceptualize it. Now we can understand. If it was to happen, not saying it will, it can always go down. Now we can think of, oh, okay, what's happening here? You know, do we have some sort of advantage? Because this is the chart you really got to look at. Look at Pulse and HEX. And it's just like the eHEX and pHEX debate. Went back and forth, up and down. If you live in the world of 1 week or 1 day, you're never going to make it at all. You got to take a long-term view. It takes a while to build the hospitals and the schools and flesh the city out. And for people to come into the city, they want to come for a holiday. All of these things start playing out. So this is the Pulse to HEX ratio. I think it's fascinating to think about where they might land in the future. You know, and even if it keeps dropping, it doesn't really matter. Like we're dealing on, this is a 3-day chart, friends, change to a weekly. These can easily get erased. I mean, but you just got to be, I'm in it, willing. I drew 2 boxes here. Yeah, we're in the double deep box, right? Eventually, at some point, market's just going to snap back and probably realize, wait a minute, Ethereum's got these mad innovation and PulseChain's a better Ethereum. And we are moving towards a world where layer 1s are probably overtaking Bitcoin because the store of value can't really do that much. It's already fleshed itself out for the past 14 years. Digital economy has grown a lot. And it's going to keep growing, but just diminishing its rate so much. So that's why even, I'm not going to draw a bottom tick here, but even if you got somewhere in the middle of the range, it's pretty that's juicy, man. If it eventually did come around here, if it did. So you don't really know. And it's also possible, man. It is possible these things just range like this forever. So you never really know, but that's the risk you take because it's very solid with the psychological bonding. The liquidity bonding, it's the same people, it's the same networks. You're not really betting on too much. You can tell how the disconnect between ETH BTC has a lot more tension going on there. So that's all that chart means. If you believe at some point this chart goes back up, so basically if you just believe at some point in the future, right, that it goes back up to here, this chart goes back up to here, you're saying Pulse outperforms HEX. That's all it means. So when someone says, do you think one wins or the other? You draw the ratio of the chart. If the chart goes up, okay, it outperformed. But then you got to obviously, you got to live with yourself if it goes down. Remember eHEX, pHEX, drop for 5 months, snap back in 2 days. Who wins? It's like everybody wins and everybody loses with this point. It all depends on the ranging. But this is actually, it's not a bad thing. You see, I just showed you the pulse to ETH ratio. That's what you want. That's the big disconnect. These nice ranges, range bound, you're nice. This is a gift. It really is a gift. You're not going to get this anywhere else in crypto. Very rare to get it. To get psychologically bonded, same founder. It's all encompassing the same risk, same people. Very rare to get that, friends. Usually you're just going to have to pick a side and a tribe. And with this, you don't have to. It's the same people, same logos, same style, same fonts, same everything. And that is a huge advantage for us all. Make sure you like, subscribe, belly button all. I'll catch you very soon. Tell mom and dad you're going to keep your back straight. See you soon.